Storytelling is an essential part of our humanity. It is how we've passed information along for millennia. Our ancestors painted tales of the hunt on the cave wall, depicting how they killed a buffalo so the tribe could continue to survive. And really, nothing has changed since then. Stories aren't just the basis of our favorite books, shows, movies, and songs. Stories are the atomic unit of human culture. Storytelling as a marketing tool follows the same traditions and structures as other stories. There is a hero who makes a hero's journey. The hero must step into the unknown, undergo a transformation, face a challenge, and return to the tribe and reflect on the experience. And once you see this pattern in movies and TV, you won't be able to unsee it. In our prehistoric history, the hero is the hunter, the journey is the hunt, the conquest is the buffalo, and the transformation and return is providing food for the tribe. How does this relate to your product and service? They can follow the same formula if you can show the consumer, your customer, as the hero, and their situation is the journey. Their unknown is when they begin trusting your product, and their transformation is the benefits they receive and how their life improves after using your product. And they return to reflect on their experience with others. They have new loyalty to your product. Before we learn how to tell a product story, we have to understand the formula of the hero's journey. The journey is a circle, and it begins with the hero in the ordinary world, and it ends with their return to that world with the secret knowledge or mystical power or artifacts. Act 1, there's the known, the mundane world, the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, the appointment of the sage or mentor, that's you, facing the guardian or crossing the threshold, and that's the end of Act 1. Then Act 2, the unknown. We have mapping the challenges. We have allies and helpers, and then enemies. We have tests and trials. We have the center of the unknown, slaying the dragon, gaining the reward. In Act 3, we have the return, obstacles to return, the resurrection or crossing the threshold, the return with the elixir, the celebration, and then finally, the freedom to live, the mastery of both worlds, the known and the unknown. Let's break down the patterns of the hero's journey. In Act 1, we have the known world. In Act 1, the hero is living an ordinary life in an ordinary world. Something or someone referred to as the herald challenges the hero to take up the quest. The hero may waver and want to stay in the world that they know. Examples of this, in the movie The Matrix, Neo has a corporate job during the day, and then during the night he hacks and he receives the call to follow the white rabbit. This is the herald that's inviting him to cross into the unknown. He is first contacted by Trinity. In Star Wars, Luke, he works on the farm on his home planet. In The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, he's living his normal life in his little hobbit hole in Hobbiton. They start from a place where everything is normal. So then a mentor or sage appears to give them guidance, and sometimes they give them a magical tool or talisman to help them on the journey. Now, this could be your product. You're the mentor or the sage. The consumer is the hero, and the magical tool you're giving them is your product. When you look at examples of this in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf is the mentor to all the characters. He's the guy that challenges Bilbo and then later Frodo to go on a magical quest. In The Matrix, Neo is challenged by Morpheus. In Star Wars, it's Ben Kenobi is the one who's mentoring Luke. That sets the stage. Now, before the hero can fully cross into the realm of the unknown, they must defeat a guardian to the world of the unknown. So in The Matrix, Neo, he actually is confronted by Agent Smith. And before he has a choice of the blue pill or the red pill. Another example is in the Spider-Man mythology. In Spider-Man, when Peter Parker first finds out he has powers, he has to enter the wrestling competition. He has to defeat Bonesaw before he enters the world of the unknown. So there's always a guardian that they must overcome. When it comes to your customer, that can be their fear, their apprehension of entering the world of the unknown. After the hero enters the world of the unknown, there is no returning until the journey is completed. An example of this in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy must complete her journey. She has to go all the way to the Emerald City to the end of the journey before she can return home to Kansas. Another example of this would be Harry Potter. He's living with his uncle. Hagrid is the herald, or the owl, I should say, is the herald. The mentor is Dumbledore. And once he enters the world of magic, he has to go all the way to the end. He has to defeat Voldemort. So once you enter the world, you can't get off the ride until it's all the way done. So this brings us into Act 2, the journey through the unknown world. For your users, this would be onboarding onto your product. So this would be how they're going to use their product to transform their lives, make their lives better, to make their job easier. In the hero's journey, this is where the true challenges of the journey are revealed. The allies and the enemies of the hero are defined. So in the Harry Potter mythos, you have Hermione and Ron, Sirius Black, and then you have the enemies, you have Voldemort, the Death Eaters. In Star Wars, you have the allies, it's Han Solo, Princess Leia, C-3PO, R2-D2, and then you have the enemies, you have the Empire and Darth Vader. Tests and trials are going to come forth to test the hero, and sometimes these come in threes, but these are not the main challenge. You know, a good example is in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones, he gets thrown in the snake pit. That's one of the trials. He has the big rolling rock that he has to evade. You know, these are all like trials. These are not the main challenge. The main challenge comes at the end. So in a monomyth or hero's journey, occasionally there's a step where the hero may meet with what they call meet with the goddess, which is someone who gives the hero some sort of inner strength to hold on to. In the Matrix, Neo goes and meets with the Oracle. In Harry Potter, it's holding on to the fact that his mom loved him, his parents loved him enough to sacrifice their lives for him. These are like all different things that they hold on to. At this point, the hero faces a period of serious doubt, and they wonder if they should proceed with the quest. This is called the center of the unknown. In the movie The Princess Bride, there's a point where Wesley is being tortured literally to the point of death. That is like the lowest point, the darkest hour. This is the point where they should consider whether they should turn back or not. In the product story, in your product story, this is kind of the point where the customer decides whether they're going to stick with your product or not. So the hero emerges from darkness to face the main obstacle and slay the dragon. The dragon's the main obstacle. This is the main villain. This is the main challenge in their journey. The hero cannot fulfill the journey without defeating the dragon. They have to slay the dragon. In The Hobbit, they literally slay the dragon Smaug. In The Matrix, at the end, Neo defeats Agent Smith. In The Princess Bride, Wesley goes and confronts the prince and defeats him. There's always like a dragon that must be slayed. In your product story, this can be your customer overcoming whatever obstacle made them pick up your product in the first place. In the hero's journey, after slaying the dragon, the hero gains the reward. And this is the object or goal of the entire quest. It can be a physical reward. It can be freedom from oppression. It can be secret knowledge or enlightenment or anything else that many other people will benefit from. So, for example, in Star Wars trilogy, the whole thing is to get out from under the oppression of the Empire. In Lord of the Rings, they defeat Sauron. In The Hobbit, they actually return the dwarves to being the king of the mountain. There's always some sort of payoff in these stories. In Act 3, the hero must return home, but he may feel a reluctance to leave the mystical world behind that they've just conquered. Or there may be a final barrier or last enemy to challenge their safe passage. So a good example of this is in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs. And if you've ever seen this movie with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, there's basically aliens like invading Earth. They don't like water defeats them. There's one last alien that comes back at the very end of the movie, and they're trying to kill Mel Gibson's son, who has asthma. This is earlier in the movie. This alien got their fingers chopped off by Mel Gibson. You think you're out of the woods, but you're not quite out of the woods yet. This happens a lot in horror movies and suspense and drama movies. There's always like one last kind of obstacle after the main obstacle. So once you defeat that last one, there's a symbolic resurrection. This can be the hero's return to the village or the normal world. People that he's returning to, they have the secret knowledge or other artifact that's going to help others. This is known as the return with the elixir. The hero can now grant boons to the people. In Lord of the Rings trilogy, this is basically Aragorn getting anointed as king. In the movie The Dark Crystal, this is the two tribes, the Mystics and the Skeezicks, merging back into their original form. There's always some sort of ascendancy of power for the hero where he can give benefit to the people. And then usually there's a celebration by the people in the regular world for the hero at the end of their journey. A good example of this in the movie The Return of the King, Aragorn is like, these are my friends, the hobbits, like everybody bow to you. At the end of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the pensive siblings celebrate their victory over the White Witch. They're all sitting on thrones. And then at the very, very end of the hero's journey, there's a reflection period where the hero has achieved mastery over the normal world and the unknown world, and the hero completes the circle, a much stronger and wiser person. In the Harry Potter series, you remember in the last movie, all the main heroes, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they were there with their families. They're reflecting on everything. The world is safe now. In The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, it's Samwise writing in the journal. And so this is kind of just the denouement of the entire hero's journey. So applying this storytelling to your marketing efforts, taking the hero's journey formula and applying it to your marketing is not difficult if you've seen it. Once you see it, you'll understand that humans have been using the same formula for many millennia. There are a few things to keep in mind when you use storytelling as your marketing tool, and make sure that your brand story follows these guidelines. Make it interesting to your target audience. Make it relevant to them. Be authentic and genuine, not full of meaningless buzzwords or making false claims. Put your customer in the middle of the story. They are the hero. And make it consistent with the storyline. And this is the important one. The customer always has to be the hero of the story, not you, not your brand, not your product, not your company. They, the customer, are the hero of the story. The last part is hard for a lot of companies to grasp. Shouldn't the product be the hero? Isn't that the point? The brand has a role to play in the story, but in almost every case, the product plays the role of the magic talisman or of the mentor, of the sage. You are guiding your customer. Weaving the story of your product and the story of your customers together is how you make them interested. No one listens to a person talking only about themselves in a crowded room. It's not about you. It's about them. The best stories work when the reader melts into the story and sees himself in that role. Your marketing efforts should do likewise. You want the customers to be able to picture themselves in the role of the hero. Show the benefits of the magic talisman, which is your product, and make it a natural part of the story. I'll link it up in here, but there's a Google video, basically, this came out a few years ago from IndoPak, and it shows how two friends were separated for decades by political borders, and then they were able to find each other through their grandchildren using Google search. And I'm going to link this up in the notes below, but go check out this video, and I dare you not to be moved by this 3-minute story. This is a perfect example of placing the consumer in the hero's role and having the product be the magic talisman or the mentor that enables them to fulfill their own hero's journey. Regular people are at the center of the story. The service, in this case Google, is merely a tool that they're using, but it shows how powerful that tool can be. These people accomplish something extraordinary by using the mystical talisman. So, who are you telling your story to? Know who your target audience is and tell them a story that's of interest to them alone. Here's a classic example. The Charles Atlas ads that used to run when I was a kid in comic books, or you'd see them in magazines, where the bully kicks sand in the hero's face. Charles Atlas is the mentor, and his training program is the talisman, and the journey is lifting weights, the dragon is the bully, and then the reward is the respect of the girl and the hero's peers and his own self-respect and confidence. There is this print ad that ran, and it's called The Insult That Made a Man Out of Mac. And the first frame, here's Mac with his girl, there's bully kicking sand in his face, and he says, "Hey, quit kicking that sand in our face." His girlfriend saying, "That man is the worst nuisance on the beach." And then there's this guy, he grabs Mac. Mac's like this skinny guy, and he says, "Listen here, I'd smash in your face. Only you're so skinny, you might dry up and blow away. And his girl's watching this, and he's all skinny. He says, that big bully, I'll get even someday. And then his girlfriend's all, oh, don't let it bother you, little boy. And he's like, ah. So he goes home, he's kicking stuff all over his room, and he's like, darn it, I'm sick and tired of being a scarecrow. Charles Atlas says he can give me a real body, all right. I'll gamble a stamp and get his free book. So right there, Charles Atlas is the mentor. His training program is the magic tool. So next frame of the ad, it's him looking in the mirror. He's got his buff body, and he's all, boy, it didn't take Atlas long to do this for me. What muscles? That bully won't shove me around again. It's showing that he's gone on this journey. And then he's going to slay the dragon. In this next scene, they're back at the beach. His girlfriend's there, and Mac is punching the bully square in the jaw. What? You here again? Here's something I owe you. And then the last scene, he's, making the journey back. He's getting a reward. And his girlfriend's on his arm now saying, oh, Mac, you are a real man after all. And there's this kind of like frame where it says hero of the beach. And all the other girls are all, gosh, what a build. And some other guy is saying he's already famous for it. So basically this was a print ad in 7 frames telling the entire hero's journey. So if you can tell a compelling story like this, where you show the customer as the hero of the story and showing your product as being able to make a transformation in their life and showing them what rewards you're going to get at the end, and they can see themselves in that story, you're going to be successful. Let me tell you another story. Subway took off when they built a marketing campaign around Jared. I know Jared's been in some trouble recently, but anyway, at the time, he was a regular guy who lost a ton of weight by eating Subway, and he underwent a transformation, and this was a symbolic death of the old Jared, the fat Jared, and his rebirth as a skinny guy. And he returned to the people with the elixir, which in this case was Subway sandwiches. So if you eat Subway, then you can get skinny too. You can turn from fat into skinny. Now, while this campaign skipped over the mentor figure, you could say that in a way, Subway was the mentor figure. The talisman was the sandwiches. The journey was the quest to lose weight. The target audience was people who wanted to improve their diet and lose weight while eating good-tasting food without paying a lot. The point of the story is this ad campaign really made Subway a national brand. So there's something to learn from this. You put people in that hero role and show them that they can make a transformation. This is a great, great way to sell your product. So regular businesses have a heroic story inside of them. Storytelling is how humans transmit information and form emotional bonds. Figuring out your marketing story is much easier when you start looking for these key events and characters. So if you want to read even more about the art of storytelling and marketing, Ryan Holiday has a good article on Medium about marketing mundane businesses through storytelling. Also, there's a TED Talk that I want you to look up on YouTube. It's by Andrew Stanton of Pixar Studios. And in this video, he gives more insight into talking about what you know and weaving humanity into your storytelling. This kind of breaks down how they think about storytelling at Pixar and crafting stories in which you can picture yourself in that role of the hero. To sum up, the hero's journey is a formula. Once you kind of see the pattern, you will see it in every TV show, in every movie that you watch. So here's the challenge. Think about how you are using your marketing right now. And think about how you can apply the hero's journey to your own storytelling about your product. Can you craft a better product story than what you're using right now? How can you put your customers in that hero role? And how can you position your company as a mentor and your product as the magic talisman? And what rewards are people going to get from overcoming their obstacles? Food for thought.